Keanu. They're the Hartman mountain zebras hailing from the southwest part of Africa. They came here from the Franklin Zoo in Boston, joining Ulysses, a plain zebra, and a longtime KMOJ Zoo resident. Zookeeper actions went well, and guests can now see both the zebra species side by side. That will do it for us on this Wednesday. Hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll see you again tomorrow for the Fox 9 Morning News and back here at 11. Have yourself a great day. Next up, it's All Day, which starts right now.
Hi, everybody. We're glad that you're here with us in this 2-hour stretch where we're going to be covering a lot of live events, things that are going on here close to home, Washington, D.C., all over the place. We're going to take you around the state today. Some big stories we're following as well. So a couple of things. Healthcare hearing is happening, I believe right now. It's still going, so we're going to try to dip into that for a second and keep track of that for you. I'll tell you about that in just a second. Also, government shutdown, so we know that we want to keep track of what's happening in the Senate in Washington, D.C. We've got Gophers basketball availability, and next hour hearing from the new head coach, Nico Medved. Also, head coach Kevin O'Connell of your Minnesota Vikings is scheduled to talk to reporters next hour. I don't know what he might talk about. Maybe we'll go take that live and see if we get any information on maybe who's starting this weekend. We don't know, but we'll have that for you as well. And then speaking of live, we are also today, our Lauren and Drago right now is in Minneapolis this hour. The People's Station, you know it. You love it. It's KMOJ, and they're unveiling the future, really. Kind of a big old party in a vacant lot, but that lot not vacant for much longer. We're going to talk about some really exciting plans for this iconic community radio station that is going to be just growing and evolving in the coming years. So we'll check in with Lauren out there. Speaking of plans, there are also some plans for a future data center right outside Duluth. A St. Louis County Commissioner, though, says we need to stop everything here and take a big pause because part of the process involves signing non-disclosure agreements, or NDAs. These are legal and they are used, you know, they're fairly common, but she's asking, should they be used? So we'll talk to her as well about what's happening up in Hermantown. Also, next hour, we're going to be continuing our Candidate a Day interviews. This week it's Minneapolis. Next week it's St. Paul. We're talking about the mayoral race. And so today we have State Senator Omar Fateh here with us via Zoom. And he's going to be following the same rules that all the other candidates followed. It's 10 minutes live, and we'll run through some of those guidelines for you here in just a little bit when we talk to him next hour. And also today, we got to keep talking about it every single day. Today is one of those milestone days, a marker day that you should kind of know about if you have Medicare, specifically Medicare Advantage. Really important day today on the timeline. Today is the day you can start actually making those changes. And if you're not quite there yet, we're going to get you there. Don't worry. We're like hand in glove on this, you and us, and we're going to try to make sure that everybody gets their questions answered. We've started Medicare Mondays, where we bring in a Medicare product manager from the state, and she answers your viewer questions, and we'll give you the email address here in just a little bit and get you rolling on that. We want to make sure everybody has what they need for health insurance going into the new year. Okay, I talked about some live events that we are following, and one of them, Amber's been kind of trying to keep an eye on here at the state Capitol. This is it's a select committee specifically around federal impacts to health insurance and access to care. It started about 10 o'clock, and let's see, let's listen in here and just see where we're at. And
on August 28th of this year, I was diagnosed with an aggressive form of breast cancer. I am coming off of chemotherapy yesterday, so I'm sweating chemotherapy right now. And from August 28th up until October 14th, yesterday, I spent all of my time figuring out my care. I have a wonderful care team at Regions Hospital, and yesterday I met with a social worker for the first time. And from now until the end of the year, I have a quick list that I will read you of all of the appointments that I am going to have to try and figure out what is the right thing for my family. So right now I have a non-traditional family. I have a brother who is still alive against all odds. He was given 9 months to live. He is still alive 7 years now, but he is disabled. He cannot work. And so I have a family structure where me, my mother, who is retired and working or living on Social Security, and my sister and my sister-in-law provide all the income for our family. And so when I was diagnosed and realized that I was going to have to navigate something new and scary and very big for me to understand, I have to take into account all of my family members. So from October 14th until January 1st, when I can finally figure out what is the right plan for me, I'm very fortunate that I can afford care, and I will have to take money from other places in order to afford care. I can't afford to not pay for it. So I will have meetings with social workers. I will have a meeting with the Angel Foundation for financial planning. I will have meeting with other grant writers to do grant applications for deductible support, because I had to purchase a high deductible plan at the beginning of this year. I'm talking with an HR representative from my job right now. I am an independent contractor, so I do not get health insurance from my job. I will be talking to an HR rep. I work for a national organization. They have insurance in California. I'm gonna then have to take those plans that they present to me. I'm very fortunate that they have offered that to me. They're a wonderful organization. And I'm gonna have to take those plans plus all the ACA plans and have a meeting with a broker from the marketplace who can help me figure out what the payments will be. I am going to have to get my mother on SNAP benefits. I right now support my mother with her groceries. So we're looking at SNAP benefits. My mother has also been kicked off her supplemental Medicare insurance with UCare. I found that out yesterday. I don't know much about it. We just were talking about it in passing. So that's something I'm thinking about. I have a therapist who has gotten me through the last 6 years. It's taken me a long time to find that therapist. At the beginning of this year, that therapist changed jobs and I lost insurance through them. So I have to talk to my therapist to see if they're covered. I have to figure out if my cancer is covered. Right now, I am, if you've seen commercials for Keytruda at nighttime, I am on Keytruda. That drug costs $60,000. I just found that out. I'm on my app all the time. That drug takes me from a 51% chance of a complete pathological response. That means 51% chance that the chemotherapy will get rid of my tumor, to a 65% chance. I am terrified that even when I find my insurance, and if I find that it covers it, will they deny that drug? That is an experimental drug that's been out since 2020. I just have 2 more pages. I'll be fast. I have to contact my own financial planner at Edward Jones to say I have to stop my retirement contributions and I have to stop my down payment on my house contributions. Those dreams are on hold. Those dreams that were made possible by the ACA, by Public Student Loan Forgiveness Act. And in December, when I start a chemotherapy treatment called the Red Devil, and I don't say that for fear-mongering, it's because the real name is very hard to remember. When I start a chemo treatment called the Red Devil, which will make me have to go in for heart monitoring, go in and make sure, because it's a very intense, it's derived from mustard gas, that's when I will have to make the choice what insurance I have and whether or not I will be able to continue working, and if there are subsidies for me if that chemotherapy is too hard for me to take and I have to stop working. So those are all culminating in the next 3 months. Having cancer is a full-time job. I'm fortunate to be working part-time, and I'm really grateful to you all for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Okay,
Ms. Gordon.
we have been listening to some really powerful testimony there from someone who is sharing experiences. Minsher will also be testifying, Department of Commerce, Minnesota Hospital Association. The woman you just saw right before that, I believe, was Lindsay Port. She's the committee chair of this. It's a select committee focused on federal impacts on health insurance and access to care moving forward. So several people testifying. If you wanted to continue to watch this, it is being live streamed by Senate Media Services. Again, this is at the state capitol here in St. Paul. Senate Media Services is live streaming this if this is something that you'd like to continue to watch. It's been going on for several hours, so not sure how much longer it'll go, but some really, really important information being shared there and discussed. She had just mentioned something, and we just want to reiterate too, it's hard to hear somebody going through all of that and then also saying, and then by the way, I just found out that my mom is with UCare and is losing her Medicare supplement, and now I don't even know what that means. And so to add on to all of that, which is one of the reasons why we are really trying to talk about this as much as we can. Today is a really big day for those of you who have Medicare, specifically Medicare Advantage plans. It's open enrollment for folks right now, Medicare open enrollment. The changes are happening. Most impact is going to happen to anybody who has a Medicare Advantage through UCare, as this person was just testifying. You're going to lose your Medicare Advantage. No matter what happens, you're going to lose that going into the new year. You have to do something. Take a look at your plan. You may not have to take action, but you need to take a look at your plan and make sure that you are covered the way you need to be covered headed into the new year, because Medicare Advantage will bring into the picture things like coverage for prescription drugs. So if that goes away, you will fall back on original Medicare after the first of the year, but you won't have some of the things that Medicare Advantage had been adding to your plan. So really, really important. Call the number on the back of your card. Whether you're UCare, there are other providers who are pulling out in certain counties the Medicare Advantage plans. So definitely, just if you have Medicare across the board, the advice from the state is call the number on the back of your card, start there and see what is going to change for you. And then there are a lot of resources for you after that. We share a couple of them here. This is Insurance Help. This is the used to be the Senior Linkage Line. Some of you may know it as that. Now the Minnesota Aging Pathways Hotline. They're very busy, but they are there to answer your questions, to get you lined up, to figure out what you need to do next. Then you'll have to get a hold of a broker or an agent, a health insurance broker or agent, who will help you purchase the additional plans you may need, and they can walk you through that. So again, it's Medicare Mondays here on All Day. Every Monday we are going to be dedicated to helping you navigate this really, really confusing world of Medicare right now. So we're going to do our best. Medicare Mondays, we take questions. You can email us. We put our email up there pretty often throughout the show, allday@fox.com. We have a ton of emails, and we're getting them answered slowly live with our guest from the state who is going to be coming on with us every Monday. So got to let you know about that really important deadline. All right, let's see here. Really quickly too, tax extension day today, just putting it out there. If you put off filing your taxes, this is the last day. October 15th is your last day to file a tax, to take care of everything and file your taxes before you have a penalty. Today is it, the 15th of October, that day is here. So we have these stories up on our website as well, a lot of content there that can hopefully help you navigate some of this. Okay, time to check in on one of the stories that we're working on for later this afternoon. Our Rob Olson is working on this one. This is a really interesting story, one that we've been following for quite some time, Rob. It has to do with a new law here in Minnesota, high school students and Narcan, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, this is something where we just, received or there was a letter sent out by Edina Public Schools to parents that they'll be hosting a forum next month about this, but that they, on their board meeting 2 nights ago, they passed this new policy in accordance with the new state law that was passed. It was actually amended. So there was a state law passed last year that required districts to have at least 2 doses of an opioid antagonist, Narcan, on hand, amended this year to say that districts are allowed to let high school students, so grades 9 through 12, carry and administer these opioid or opiate antagonists, again, Narcan, on their own. So then the board here in Edina did vote on that they would adopt this into their policy. I've reached out to the State Department of Education, talking with Edina Public Schools as well. So I'm waiting to get some, I've got some background from them, waiting to get some sort of on-the-record information from them. But they believe that they are an early adopter of this. But basically, because of this amendment to state law, every district across the state has to make this choice. Do they let high school students carry and administer this on their own or not? Because state law gives every district that right to make that decision.
Interesting. Yeah, it's so interesting to see, just not even in schools, but just the increased, the push for increased access to Narcan, against medication that can reverse the effects of an opioid overdose in an emergency. I can't remember which community it was, but we had a community where they were putting them even like in a vending machine. Might have been Mankato, or somewhere in neighborhoods as well. Oh, Chippewa Falls, sorry, Amber's telling me Chippewa Falls. So, Rob, this is something that, yeah, it's happening in our districts, but boy, it's something we probably don't talk about nearly enough, which is the opioid crisis.
Yeah, which, is a crisis that continues, and, these drugs have proved very successful in counteracting the effects of an overdose. Which is why, the police officers, carry them. There's just a lot more of that out there for these emergency situations, which is why then the legislature passed this to require schools to have these on hand. But again, the new wrinkle in this is also allowing them to make the decision as to whether high school students will be allowed to carry them and administer them as well. So for schools, it's a safety issue. It's a safety concern. Certainly they worry about the optics here. If they say, yes, we're going to do this, do people get the wrong impression perhaps that there's a crisis here, when really what they're trying to do is make sure that every safety protocol is in place. So it can get a bit tricky in terms of perception. But that's what we're working on here, trying to get more information about this, trying to find out how many other districts, because every district now has that choice to make. Do they allow high school students to carry and administer this or not? Yeah,
very interesting. All right, Rob, thank you so much.
Sure.
We'll check in with you a little bit later today. Thanks. Yeah, that perception piece is so interesting, because we are told by law enforcement constantly, it's not who you think it is. It's not where you think it's happening. So, I'm sure each district will figure it out for themselves. But boy, this is something, again, we just don't talk about enough. All right, we are going to take a break right now, and I think we have our email address. Yes, there it is. allday@fox.com. Please email us again any Medicare questions that you might have that we can answer for you live next week. Maybe you'll get them answered then or at another time. We're going to do our best to get them all answered. And we have a lot online too, so go check out some of those segments online. Also, when we come back, plans to build this data center in Hermantown, right outside of Duluth. Wow, we're seeing this happen more and more and more. And then as we dig into it, we're starting to see that it is so complicated. There are so many layers to this. We're going to dig in when we come back. Stay with us. All Day Live continues after this look at weather and a quick break. And welcome back to All Day Live. Your time is 12:20 on this Wednesday. We're so glad that you're here with us today, spending some time looking at our headlines, following some live events across the region here at home and also in D.C., keeping an eye on that shutdown, which is entering its third week now. We wanted to bring you up to kind of the Iron Range region by Duluth and talk about some plans that are, it's just driving a lot of conversation right now. There are plans to build a data center in Hermantown. This is a small community kind of considered a suburb of Duluth. What's the company? Well, we don't know. What will it look like? We don't know that yet. What environmental studies have been done? I haven't seen anything public, so we don't know that either. What we do know is that earlier this year, Mortensen Construction approached the city of Hermantown to build a communication services facility. Those are typically otherwise known as data centers on behalf of their client, and the only thing we know is that it is a Fortune 50 company. One of the reasons that we don't have a lot of these details is because some of the people who were interested in bringing that data center to Hermantown needed to sign NDAs or non-disclosure agreements with the company in order to open up these conversations. NDAs are totally legal in these circumstances, and actually they're common practice. But there is a commissioner in St. Louis County who is calling for more transparency and, taking it a step farther, no more NDAs. So joining me now is St. Louis County Commissioner Ashley Grimm. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Hi, I really appreciate you having me.
For sure. So yesterday, our producer Amber had a chance to watch what was, I believe, a county commission meeting. You, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong along the way here, but you made sure that NDAs was on the agenda, and you also don't believe that commissioners should be signing NDAs. And the process of yesterday, it looked like you made a motion to kind of simply open up that discussion. We wanted to play just a portion of that so people can see, and then I'll have you kind of respond to it on the back end and let us know what happened there. So let's play that.
Yeah.
Okay, second call for a second.
Unbelievable. Come on.
Third and final call for a second. Okay, motion fails for lack of a second. Okay. Next up is commissioner discussion items.
I have an item.
Use your gavel, Mr. Chair.
I have an item.
Let's. Commissioner Grimm.
Yeah, I want to address the public here. We have commissioner discussion items. I think refusal to consider this item and to allow for public comment when we see this chamber more packed than I've seen it for basically any other session, both speaks to a total disservice to our community, as well as a striking example of why we need a policy around prohibiting non-disclosures and increasing transparency with our community. I have never seen something like this in my tenure on the board. And that commissioners would know they were not planning to second this, and so they make commissioner comments about it at a time when it can't be debated. That it's unprecedented.
Okay, so I'll let you sort of respond to that, and then I just have a couple of follow-up questions to kind of try to understand what was going on there.
Yeah, so what you're seeing is something I've only seen this time at a county board meeting. The chambers were packed. People had showed up during public comment and asked to comment on the data center, and in particular, the fact that 3 county commissioners had signed non-disclosure forms ranging from months ago to almost a year ago. And they were told by the board chair to hold their comments if they could until the resolution was made. And then when the resolution was made, every other commissioner chose not to second it, which everyone on the board knows means that there can be no discussion and it just dies. And the reason people don't usually do that, commissioners usually second it, even if it's just for discussion, because as your elected officials, we tell you that your voice matters, right? We don't come to the table with our minds totally made up. We want to hear what the community says. So instead, the motion died, and all of the people who had been waiting an hour and a half staff to have their comments heard and had been told to wait that hour and a half weren't able to even voice any of their concerns, which is kind of ironic on a vote with transparency.
Go ahead. Yeah, so one of the questions I had is, I was just listening to that, it kind of picked up on something, and if you could clarify this for me. So it sounded kind of like you were saying that there were these commissioners kind of came into that meeting almost like you have these commissioners who I don't want to put words in your mouth, but do you believe that the commissioners, talked to ahead of time and kind of agreed, hey, we're not going to second any kind of a motion to talk about this, or what exactly are you thinking?
I don't know what happened. I do, and 3 commissioners can talk about any given item, so that wouldn't necessarily violate open meeting laws. So I'm not saying anything illegal happened or anything like that. What I do find curious and concerning is the fact that the district commissioner, Keith Musolf, made comments about the data center and the NDA that he signed, but he did it right after the regular committee meeting where you do committee updates, which isn't a normal spot where you would comment on an agenda item. And so no other community member could discuss at that time. It's not debatable at that time. So I don't know exactly why that happened, but I know that how it happened ended up being really a disservice to the community. Okay. So I can't speak to people's rationale or their intent, just to what happened.
Okay. And so I'm just going to put a bow on that piece of it, because we have like the procedural piece of this that we want to parse through, and then we have the project piece of this as well. Again, so many layers to these stories, and in this interview we won't get through all of it, but specifically as we were watching that commission meeting yesterday, that we had so many questions that we wanted to parse out. So I should also mention that our producer Amber did reach out to all of the commissioners. We did hear back from some of them. One of them this morning had a chance to talk to St. Louis County Commissioner Chair Amy Hockert, who we should point out was not there yesterday. For the record, Commissioner, she did say that if she would have been there, she would have seconded that to at least open up the conversation. We'll never know for sure. This is what she's letting us know. So I wanted to make sure and get that out also. I'm also curious. So. And I don't know how these meetings work. This is not my wheelhouse at all. But are there opportunities for you to have discussions, ahead of what happened yesterday? Has there been any kind of conversation between you or any other commissioners about what's going on and why are there NDAs and what are we doing here?
So last week, right after I found out that there were NDAs, I gave the whole board notice that I had concerns about them and was going to bring it forward. So to give everyone a good faith opportunity, I also didn't come up with the specific names of commissioners that I had seen had the NDAs, because I think commissioners need to have the opportunity to bring that forward or bring support forward, and then hopefully that gave them the opportunity. What I saw in the meantime was just statements of support for the NDAs that they had signed. And there's a great opportunity for Commissioner Hockert or others who were present as well to bring that agenda item back up. So I'm hoping that happens, and it doesn't have to be the end of the discussion.
And public comment seemed to be something that you, obviously, as we played that clip, is something that you really were pushing for here, an opportunity for the public to weigh in. What's been the process for the public to weigh in on this as far as the county goes? And then I think obviously there's the city piece as well, but for St. Louis County, what does that look like for the public?
So I think you bring up a really good point. Before I was a commissioner, I was a community member who tried to have my voice heard. And what you find time and time again is that the process isn't really built for it to be simple for you to do that. So I found out about this data center, that it was a data center at the same time the community did, which was just a couple weeks ago. That's over a year after the district commissioner knew about it. It's after I've heard from Hermantown residents, I haven't checked this, but they were concerned that even definitions of light commercial in the city of Hermantown had been changed so that they fit the data center regulations. Those are things that I've started hearing. So that's one of the main reasons that I brought this forward, to say instead of companies having a year or months to win over 3 of the 4 votes that they need to give, if they asked for tax abatement, if they asked for county money, taxpayer money, instead of them having that leg up, they should be able to only be in those conversations if the community has a chance to give input, and they just didn't. So I've seen the community organizing themselves. They have a really great group in Hermantown. I think it's Stop the Hermantown Data Center. They're doing all kinds of organizing that they had to pull together within 2 weeks. So I think that's a big reason this matters. And one other key point is that this proposal doesn't ban non-disclosures from being signed by staff. We have an amazing economic development team. Staff can work with people. They can, walk them through the process, answer any questions about land. What staff can't do is start to build the political will to pass public tax breaks and things that are in the role of a county commissioner. They can't build that political will without the public also being in the conversation. So, and I haven't seen it be common practice that politicians sign these non-disclosure forms. I think we're seeing it more and more as billionaires with great legal teams are pushing it and trying to say, hey, talk to us and don't talk to your constituents.
Commissioner, can you help me understand which entity has the final say here, whether this happens or doesn't?
The only say that the St. Louis County Board would have that I'm aware of is we would come in when they're asking for TIF, so tax increment financing or tax abatement, which essentially means that they don't have to pay as much taxes as they would otherwise, or if they're asking like some companies have for, it could be hundreds of thousands of dollars, it could be millions of dollars. So we don't have any of the kind of role in permitting. I know there's a vote coming up in Hermantown that is a zoning vote that's really important, but the piece that we play is largely with taxpayer dollars, which is really important.
Yeah, just bigger picture as we're looking at this, because right now we're focusing on Hermantown. We've been also covering a story in Fargo and Harwood that are kind of going through the same thing with the data center that are plans to go into Harwood. Bigger picture though, when we hear about and public hears about data centers, I think we have seen maybe things on social media or different places about how electricity is a problem, or it's draining water supply and the environmental effects. Are there things though about data centers that could bring jobs, opportunity, money, revitalize an economy? Are there things that you're kind of willing to concede to say, yeah, all these things are good?
So something interesting is that data centers have existed for a long time, right? We all store data. We know that there's some need for that storing. What's pretty new are these mass mega users of data that are storing things purely for profit, right? To see how many clicks they can get. Think about those Facebook quizzes when you're thinking about your electric bill and what kind of public incentives and subsidies we want to give these companies. Think about all the data that's collected through Facebook quizzes to make sure that you're marketed at better. Like, a lot of this is driven by that, and not necessarily the good things about the internet that connect us, that build innovation. So I think when we're thinking about the mass resources that this uses, we need to make sure that the public is at the table saying, okay, what kind of data are we collecting? What is a critical need that we want to invest in? And what is something that a billionaire is using that doesn't create a lot of jobs and is just going to pad their pockets at the expense of our electric rates going up to the tune of, some people have seen 70% increases in their electric rates with other data centers. So there's all kinds of data centers, and it's the point of the problem with non-disclosure agreements is that right now no one in Hermantown, or most people in Hermantown, don't know what type of data center. And that, that builds mistrust when we need to start building trust in politics.
Just so you know, too, we had that conversation with Commissioner Chair this morning, and she's actually agreed to come on tomorrow to talk with us. So we wanted to give her an opportunity to talk about it. Again, she was not there yesterday, but she is one of the three commissioners who signed that NDA about a year ago. Before I let you go, what question do you have for her? What should I be asking her from your perspective?
Let's see, what benefit is there to having elected officials sign these non-disclosures that wouldn't be solved by staff working with these projects to sign non-disclosures? I'd also like to directly ask, have you talked to them about abatement? Have you talked to them yet about things that the public would want to be part of the conversation about? And unless she violates the NDA, I think likely she won't be able to tell you.
Okay. Yeah, and we did also reach out, and Amber spoke with the St. Louis County attorney to see if she was involved in any way, and she did say that whether she advised them or not, and she said that attorney-client privilege prevents her from discussing any conversations that she had with the commissioners. So if we want that information, we would file a data request for that, and that would be, I believe, made public. I'm not a legal expert, but thank you for your time, Commissioner. We really appreciate it. This won't be the last time we're talking about this, because we're talking about Hermantown right now and St. Louis County. This is an issue that I think is impacting a lot of communities, and again, there are about 12 different sides to this story. It's not black and white by any means. Thanks for sharing your perspective today. Appreciate your time.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure, you bet. All right, let's see. So again, we'll have the chair commissioner on tomorrow. All right, let's do this. Let's take a quick break and come back, and we're going to take you out to a really exciting new project for KMOJ, the People Station. We're live there because there's an event that's happening. It's an unveiling of a new lot of land that they're going to be building on. So we'll take you there. But we've got, I think, a little bit of a peaceful moment for you. If I don't, oh my goodness, really taking us to, this is live. Oh, Split Rock. Never looked better. Love Split Rock Lighthouse. The North Shore, some hardy folks out there with fall jackets on, hopefully taking in some great colors this weekend. All Day Live continues right after this. And welcome back to All Day Live. Oh, we're so glad that you're here today. It's a Wednesday. It's that day we try to get over the hump and hopefully coast into the weekend. And yeah, there's so much going on today, everybody. We are covering a lot of different live events, including one in Minneapolis, the heart of Minneapolis, which we're really excited about. We told you about this last week with Freddie Bell, who's the general manager of KMOJ, the People's Station. And we had to send Lauren out there today because we knew today was a big day for them. This kind of reveal of this new area. All right, the Forever Home. Tell us what's going on there, Lauren.
Good afternoon, Amy. It's a party here on the north side of Minneapolis. I am on Penn and Lowry, the site of the new Forever Home of KMOJ 89.9. The People's Station is getting a Forever Home. They have been amplifying Black voices and uplifting communities of color for nearly 50 years on the north side of Minneapolis. They've been to a couple of different homes, but now we're building a Forever Home. And I haven't to introduce you to someone. You'll recognize his voice, Walter Q Bear Banks from the afternoon drive, 2 to 6 on weekdays. It's such a pleasure to meet you. And on what a special day. Tell me about the vibes here. This is just a party.
Oh, this is totally quite amazing when you got the community that comes out at large and supports you in what's going on when we're talking about the building of KMOJ Radio. And I mean, we're talking about everybody from different walks of life that came out, they're supporting. Right now we got music in the background, we got local artists performing on stage. If you got time in your schedule, feel free to come out, but at the same time, if you miss it, you definitely miss the treat, because this is quite amazing, but it's really what it's about. You know, when we're talking about moving a station from one space to another, and then having a lot of different companies and organizations and businesses, and then also community people as well being supportive of KMOJ Radio for its purpose, and that's building the community itself, and that's what it's really about.
You have a lot of big plans inside the building once it's built and open sometime in 2028. But I want to emphasize the community importance of KMOJ stretching back decades. You were the first radio station to air Prince, and I think a lot of people don't realize that. And you continue to do that today to uplift small artists that aren't necessarily being played on other radio stations. Can you tell me a little bit, bring us back to that time and why that was so important for Minneapolis' music scene?
Well, if you look at the music scene itself in today's time, risque really is risque. But back then, when everything was like radio, they were afraid to use so many words or different words when everything dealt with anything with sexuality. And so Prince was one of those guys that was sexual. You know, it's like when you look at him as an artist, you watch him perform, he would do different gestures, different body movements, and then your mind has to run to someplace. And I think that's why he had so many ladies chasing him. But fellas as well, they was after him too. But that's just my personal what I believe with that aspect of it. But even beyond, radio really didn't touch a lot of his music in the beginning because of that sexuality side. But then at the same time, with Prince and being a North Sider / South Sider and St. Paul, he was welcomed in the community from all sides of it. And then it's like when you're recording and you record music, and then all of a sudden everybody just loves that flavor you put out. You can't do nothing but play it. So KMOJ was one of the first at playing a lot of the music that he's produced for years and years, including up until his passing.
And I love that we get to hear from other local artists here today. They've been playing all afternoon. Don Shelby was the MC today. We heard from Mayor Fry. Lots of local people who know how important KMOJ is to the community. Let's talk about the building, because you've been with KMOJ for about 40 years, over 40 years now, I think you said. What are the plans for inside the building once it's open?
Well, looking at the building itself, part of KMOJ's mission statement is about taking youth and letting them understand about radio and about being in radio and what are some of the dynamics of it, how to do some journalism and how to read and how to present yourself as a professional when it comes to actually being in places and spaces and different times. You can always put on some sweats and tennis shoes and still get the job done, but there's times when you have to show up in a suit and a tie, and you got to know the difference between 1 and 2 in order to make it happen. So that's what it's going to be about. It's about training, it's about radio, and it's about life, and it's about community. It's about all of us. It doesn't matter what color you are, what race you are. It's about making it happen to help build the community itself at large and the people that's around it, that's associated within it.
Walter Q Bear Banks, thank you so much for your time. What a pleasure to meet you. Can't wait to listen to you this afternoon. Wait, are you going to be on the air this afternoon?
I sure will, from 2 to 6, Monday through Friday, 89.9 KMOJ.
You gotta go get ready for the show, man. Thank you so much. It was so nice to meet you.
It's definitely my pleasure.
That is the new building right there, the forever home, Amy, of KMOJ, right here at Lowry and Penn. And I just want to emphasize what Q Bear said. It is what we heard all afternoon, all morning and afternoon today, was the importance of keeping this station here on the north side of Minneapolis, not just for the people who listen to it, but for the students who are passing by North High School not too far from here. And so it will remain a pillar of North Minneapolis, to be open hopefully sometime in 2028 right here near Lowry and Penn in Minneapolis.
Okay, Lauren, before I let you go, two things. First, can you say hello to Q Bear from me? I'm a big fan of his.
Oh, actually, yes. So Amy says hi, and Q Bear said, "Will you please say hi to Amy?" before we even started this live shot. So we got this out.
That is a definite. Amy is amazing, cut and dry.
Yes, she is.
Cut and dry, a wonderful person. But then getting to know her, and if you ever get a chance, an opportunity to get to know her, you learn and you're walking around with a treasure. She is amazing. She believes in what she's doing, and she has the confidence. The confidence to get in front of that microphone, to get in front of that television. Radio has a voice and not a face, but she has a gorgeous face, and she can get it done. And you as well, quite gorgeous, both of y'all.
Q Bear, thank you so much. See, you get this guy going.
I wasn't fishing,
You're absolutely right. Couldn't have said it better for myself. I know,
you.
But you deserve it too.
Thanks.
So, Q Bear,
She's amazing.
couldn't have said it better than that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Right back at him.
George Floyd Square, and she was recording, and then we was just talking about just life and just anything beyond, and it became one of those conversations to where you know when you meet somebody, you know you'll see them again. I look forward to it, and you as well, because your spirit is good, and that's one of the things that your human body, if someone would get within 6 feet of you, you got a contact that happens whether you say something or not.
Wow.
And so, Amy, hello.
Hello.
Thank you, Q Bear. She says hello back.
All right.
And
it was so great to meet you. Thank you so much.
Right back
Okay,
at him.
Amy,
all
that
of
was the first
stuff.
thing. What's the second
The second thing, I just wanted to see, like, so is there music going on? Is it kind of broadcasting the station right now?
You're hearing live artists right here on stage. We've got a couple of different artists that are cycling through.
Nice.
But yeah, these are voices that you hear on KMOJ, but they're all Minneapolis artists.
We love
It's
that.
been a really awesome celebration, happening till 2 o'clock today.
We love that so much. I know, turn an empty lot into a party. Only KMOJ could do that. Thanks to you, and thanks to Q Bear, and we'll check in with you later. See ya. All right, bye. Okay, quick break here, and on the other side of it, we're going to talk about Kevin O'Connell, who's going to be coming to the microphone here in about like half an hour or so. We're going to take it live. We're going to see if he has anything to say. I don't know why I'm talking like this. Kind of excited. Will we find out who's going to be the QB on Sunday? We'll find out. Ahmad Hicks is going to join us here after the break. But first, deep breath. This is Haven Hills Farm in Webster, where we find some serenity now. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to All Day Live. Vikings coming off that bye week, week to sort of, well, not relax, because let's face it, the Eagles are coming to town on Sunday. So there's a lot to get ready for. A lot of questions: who's going to be there, who's not, who's injured, who's not, and the biggie, of course, is who's going to start for the Vikings. So Ahmad Hicks joins us now, and Ahmad, I think we're going to hear from KOC in just a little bit. I'm not even going to ask you, who do you think is going to start? I'm just going to ask you, what are the odds that KOC will actually tell us who's going to start today?
No chance.
Okay.
No chance today. Yeah, they have normally starting quarterback speak on Wednesday. They have both J.J. McCarthy and Carson Wentz slated to speak to us. So I have a feeling they will not announce this news until Saturday afternoon, maybe Sunday morning.
Okay, but still stay tuned and watch, because you never know. Crazier things could happen, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Then, okay, so my next question is JJ ready? Like, has he been practicing the last couple of days, and is that enough time to turn around and do this?
I mean, from what Kevin O'Connell said earlier this week, neither quarterback is at 100%, but I don't think any NFL player will be at 100% after week one. That's just how the season goes. That's how their bodies, go during the season. But I think that he has been at practice. He was out there the other day when our cameras were there. They said last week he was going to be around the building while the rest of the guys were on a bye, probably on vacation, and that they were going to ramp things up then and this week. So I would like to say that, he has a pretty good shot of playing. I won't go out and say that he's going to start, but look, you got to figure out what you have in J.J. McCarthy now rather than later, because if not, it's just the ever-evolving circle of, will he start? Do we get another quarterback? Who's going to be the backup? And it's just like, it's so dramatic,
Yeah, I know. The last thing I'm going to ask you about is just the Eagles and what we're looking at here. For those maybe who don't follow football as much, and those who do, where are we with these Philadelphia Eagles right now? I mean, powerhouse?
No, I feel like you're catching them at the best time. They're coming off 2 consecutive losses. They haven't been able to run the ball efficiently. They haven't been able to throw the ball that well. That's why their wide receivers are highly upset at Jalen Hurts and their offensive coordinator right now, because they aren't getting the football. And so I think that this is the perfect opportunity for the Vikings, coming off a bye week, got some rest, maybe getting Blake Cashman back to help slow down Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts in that run game. And the pass defense has been pretty good, and Jalen Hurts can't really read a defense that well. So I would like to say this is the perfect time to play the Eagles.
Well, there you have it. All right. Thanks for checking in, Ahmad. Appreciate it. Ahead of Kevin O'Connell talking here at about 1:20, 1:25, somewhere in there, and we'll take that for you live. So
appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Take care. We wanted to possibly listen in again.
Unfortunately,
no.
Amy,
Did it just
literally just ended.
Okay. And this was the select committee. It's a committee, chosen committee on the federal impacts of on health insurance and access to care. And you had a chance to watch. I know some of it. You were doing a million other things, but the portion we ran right off the top of the show here at noon was really, really powerful. Someone who's testifying, just kind of running through this list of everything that they had to do.
Just a regular person. She says she does have experience helping write grants to cover health care, but she's a cancer survivor currently going through treatment, and she was just sharing her experience along with the experience of some of her family members, and just really, really powerful statements from her and about how the cost of health care directly impacts her life. So we heard from a number of people sharing their stories. We also heard from MNsure, the Department of Commerce, the State Hospital Association, the head of the U of M School of Public Health, as well as a couple people that run hospitals and AARP, and a couple lawmakers as well, Amy. So that meeting went on for about 3 hours.
Wow.
So I think that just speaks to how much there is to say here. It's a complex issue. It's an important issue. It impacts all of us, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So this is really information gathering at this point with this committee. The lawmakers will be back in session in February, and then but this is right now again just research and information gathering so that decisions can be made later on. But that is a biggie. And speaking of that, just as really quickly along those lines, is today is open enrollment day for Medicare folks. So if you need to change your plan, and the really quick advice that we're giving giving, that the state has asked us to give, is that just if you have Medicare, any way, shape, or form, no matter what plan you have, look at the back of your card from your provider and call that number and find out what changes might be happening to your plan at the first of the year, and start there. Because if your Medicare Advantage is being taken away, you're going to want to know that and figure out if you need to supplement the original Medicare that you'll fall back on. So, all right. Very good. Well, we'll round out this hour. A lot to come in their second hour. We have the next in our series of A Candidate a Day for Minneapolis Mayor. It is State Senator Omar Fateh, who's going to be joining us live here in about 15-20 minutes. KOC, we
Actually,
talked about.
the senator will be joining us in about 40 minutes.
Sorry.
So we're kind of juggling today. A couple live events happening earlier in the 1 o'clock hour. I've got an eye on the shot from Gophers basketball. Actually just came up, so head coach is
Nico
expected.
Nico Medved, yep.
Expected to start speaking soon. 1 o'clock-ish, so we'll get rolling to a break here. So we're ready when that happens. KOC coming up. We're going to talk hemp delivery. We're going to talk PFAS. We're going to talk Minneapolis Mayoral race. We're going to talk Vikings. A lot of stuff going on,
Amy. In a lot of pots today. So stay with us. Let's take that break so we can get back and hopefully catch some of Coach Medved. Oh,
Black Hills.
Thanks, Gerg, again for this. We'll be right back. And welcome back to All Day Live, 1 o'clock as we start the second hour of the show. Let's take you out to the U of M, where Gopher men's basketball coach Nico Medved is entering his first season. Let's listen in.
My first time coaching a game here. It will be everybody except for Isaac's first time playing a game on this court. We don't know our rotations yet. You know what I mean? We don't know any of that stuff. So it'll be good for us to kind of get out there and try to figure it out. So, again, regardless of the outcome of the game, I just think it's going to be great for both programs.
You would you prefer it not to be open? Would you?
Well, no, well, what's interesting, if you asked me today, I'd be like, gosh, why didn't I just do a closed scrimmage? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, because you control those a little bit more, right? A lot of times what you would do is you might play different lineups in different periods, do different things. So this will definitely have a different feel to it. So, but at the same time, I think it's going to be good for us to get out here. In the long run, we're going to get more out of playing in front of fans, getting a chance to feel what that game day routine is. Me as a coach and our staff and the players getting a better feel for each other that way. So I think it's going to be better for us doing it this way.
Regional opponents like this, would you foresee that to mostly be exhibition type things for you in the future, or would this potentially become, I'm not saying every year play these kind of teams, but add them to a non?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, who knows where this is going to go, that way. I think there's a lot of cool opportunities with these exhibitions you can do too. It could be regional opponents, it could be high major games, where again, I think people are kind of, there's interest as you're building up to the basketball season. I think if fans are paying attention to it, I think that's great as you're getting ready to kick off college hoops. And so who knows where it'll go with exhibitions and real games. But I think with the rule change, there's a lot of possibilities.
What's the anxious about tomorrow night?
Yes. I think, like everything, I mean, I've never coached a game in my life where, you don't have, it doesn't matter, even if it was a closed scrimmage, where you don't have some kinds of nerves, anxious, but that's what you do it for, is to kind of feel that when you're getting ready to go compete. But more than anything, I'm kind of, it's time. We gotta get out there at some point and play somebody else and kind of see, what we're made. I want to be careful what we're made of, because I don't think it's that really. I think both teams will compete really, really hard. I think it's just kind of give us a better feel for our team, that way. So yeah, it's gonna feel cool, I think, to get back out there, and I can't believe that it's already here. But yeah, I'm excited.
Talking to some of your players last week, they talked about the attention to detail that you have. Will kind of be an example of kind of how minute you have principles of different things?
I don't know. I mean, I think most successful, my guess is I could look at my cohorts in the Big Ten, and they're probably pretty detail oriented too, would be my guess. But no, I just think, details matter. I think we're really intentional about the things we like to do and how we go about our business. It might be from the way you close out to a player to the way you cut, and, doing it 85% right is not doing it right. You know what I mean? That you either do it right or you don't. And so I think, holding that standard to little things, I think matters. I think details save you or kill you. And that's something that, this group has really bought into. We're not where we need to be that way. They're still kind of learning what that feels like. But yeah, I think we've always been a pretty detail-oriented program. I think most successful ones are.
What's an example of how Jalen has led, kind of knowing your system, knowing the way you coach, kind of be a conduit for the players?
I think it would be a lot of those details, right, of just kind of what it's supposed to look like at the highest level, whether, how we communicate, what we communicate, the intensity in the drills that you do it, just, not what you do, but how you do it. And I think he's really been great that way, with everything from day one here in the June till now. And I think that's been his biggest strength, and I think it's really helped kind of accelerate the process.
We didn't see Chance last Saturday. What's his status?
He's really dealing with some unique health stuff. So he's nowhere near right now, being cleared to play. I think he's making some progress. But that's really all I can say about that. But yeah, he's a ways away yet. He still hasn't gotten to the practice floor or whatever. He's still a ways away. But he's doing okay. But we don't anticipate him being back anytime soon.
Sure.
Have you ever gone into a season like this where you have, 10 or 11 new faces that you've never coached before?
Man, no, this is unique. I mean, I've never had it like this, where you take it. I mean, I guess when I think about it, I suppose, you've taken over programs, but they had more returning players, at least, who had been there before. But no, I've never had anything like this with so many new faces. So that's what I mean. I mean, for me as a coach, this is going to be unique, you know, going out there tomorrow and playing and having so many new guys. And I get asked a question all the time, well, you know, what do you think? Who's really standing out? You know, I'm not even trying to dodge the question. I think there's a lot of guys who are playing really hard, but we're going to see here when the season gets going is kind of how all that stuff just sort of figures itself out.
Has that changed your approach at all, just given all the turnover?
Not really. I think it hasn't changed the approach or like how we coach. I think maybe what I have to understand is that, you know, just trust the process. That's always work. You're going to have good days, bad days. You know, sometimes to figure things out, you have to. Sometimes the way you figure something out is it doesn't go your way, and then that kind of tells you, okay, well maybe we need to do something different. You know, but no, it hasn't changed our approach. And these guys have been awesome. I mean, they really have come in and tried to do what we've asked every day. And so, again, it's time to get out there tomorrow night and let's see how it goes.
You two have, like, generally, because you're around teams, when you have returners, you have a sense for kind of what the team's about. Is that part of the learning process for you a little bit, even though you're the you're the basketball expert here, but you're not sure either?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. You practice all your habits. You practice the things that you think. But again, like, you don't really know until you start playing the game, until somebody, you know, gets out there and can do it. So it's like our team. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen when we have some adversity on the court. How are we going to? We can talk about it all we want out here today, and that maybe helps you a little bit. But I think you got to go through that as a team, and so it's going to be great. It's going to be great for me too. I mean, listen, I'm a really curious person. There's never been a year in coaching that I've had where I haven't learned something and hopefully improved. And whatever happens this year, I'll rely on all my experiences, and hopefully I'm going to be a better coach at the end of this year than I was to start it.
All right, thanks, Phil.
Thank you. Yep.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Nico.
Yeah.
Andy just has a couple more.
Oh, sure. Okay.
All right, we've been watching, Nico Medved, new head coach for the Minnesota Golden Gophers basketball team, men's basketball team. And again, exhibition game against North Dakota State tomorrow. That was Williams Arena, taking some reporter questions there. So I wanted to let you hear from the coach for really the first time now that this new season is going. He replaces Ben Johnson after his tenure there. All right, we want to check in with our Corin Hoggard quickly, who is working on some content for us later tonight. So we're talking about some hemp delivery laws that are changing soon. So what do we need to know here?
Yeah, I don't even know if the law is changing so much as the Office of Cannabis Management has created some new rules. And so as far as these low potency hemp edible companies are concerned, they're told that as of November 1st to deliver their product. Again, this is Delta-9 THC coming from hemp in your gummies, your drinks, whatever. In order to deliver that within Minnesota, you have to have a delivery license. And so that means for them, about 30% of their business, they're telling me, is, you know, person to person. It's direct to consumer deliveries. And so what they do is they make up a batch of gummies or drinks, and then they just ship them via the post office or UPS to the consumer. Well, they won't be allowed to do that anymore, according to the guidance they're getting from OCM, because the post office and UPS and FedEx do not have a license in Minnesota for delivering these things. Strangely, they'll be allowed to deliver them outside of Minnesota and into Wisconsin or Texas or wherever. And they can also, the consumer can order stuff from other states. They just cannot have it delivered from Minnesota to Minnesota.
Interesting. And when does this change start?
So the way that they understand it is it changes November 1st.
Oh,
I've reached out to the Office of Cannabis Management to see what they're saying. These guys have had a lot of conversations with OCM, and they're trying to tell OCM that from their perspective, this is not something that they can do, and that OCM is going to get themselves sued because it's a federally legal product. And, you know, you can't stop the post office from making deliveries of a federally legal product. So we'll see if they actually go forward with this rule, but that is the rule as these companies understand it today.
Okay. All right, Corin, appreciate that update. We'll look forward to seeing more of your story tonight, coming up 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Thank you, and online. Thanks. Talk to you later. Okay, bye. All right, let's take a quick break, and we're going to come back. We're going to talk to the head of our investigative unit to some follow-up here on 3M and PFAS and some lawsuits that we want to catch you up on, and much more. We have State Senator Omar Fateh, who's going to be joining us here as part of our series of a mayoral candidate a day this week from Minneapolis. Next week is St. Paul, so we'll do that as well. KOC is going to be live. We'll take that for you too here shortly, and we've got an eye on that government shutdown. I'll give you the very latest here when we come back, but let's take a quick check of your weather, and then we'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Oh, it's a cloudy Wednesday. Gray sky certainly in place. We might crack a little of that open. If you're in northern Minnesota, you're going, well, dude. Maybe you're not going dude, but you're doing something, as you got plenty of sunshine across northeastern Minnesota for the afternoon. But yeah, we're kind of locked in here across the better part of the southern half of the state. A few cracks develop here and there, sure, but at least we've lost the damp edge that we had this morning. We picked up anywhere from a quarter to 3/4 of an inch of rain on average officially. 1/100th shy of a half inch of rain from our 24-hour rainfall totals here in the Twin Cities. 56 degrees is where we're aiming for late in the day. Our morning mist and drizzle fading away, no problem, leaving us with just cloudy and cool conditions for the afternoon. An average high is in the upper 50s, so by the time we work our way to the evening, just shy of average, but that cloud cover and a little bit of a breeze out of the east, and again, keeps us on the cooler feeling side of the coin. Most of the day spent in the upper 40s and lower 50s. That 56 is that late day pipe dream. 53 overnight tonight as temperatures stay mild, but a warm front comes up through the night tonight. Triggers some showers and thunder showers through the night tonight, especially going after midnight, and that lingers into our Thursday morning. That warm front is what pushes highs near 70 tomorrow. A lot of upper 60s and lower 70s through the Twin Cities, mid to upper 70s in southwestern Minnesota. Any shower or rumble chances clear out early on, and then partly sunny sky tomorrow afternoon, but breezy. Winds gusting to 30 miles per hour help to push that 70 agenda, and then even warmer still on Friday. Could pop an isolated shower as another change in wind direction comes by Friday morning. Otherwise, beautiful sunshine to partly cloudy sky as we go on into Friday. Of course, Gophers play Friday evening, 73 degrees for a high, and then pleasant Saturday, highs in the middle 60s with sunshine, upper 50s on Sunday, back to the mid 60s on Monday. All of this beautiful fall weather, and then passing clouds and a high around 60 by Tuesday. Fox 9 All Day Live continues. We are back right after the break.
All right, welcome back to All Day Live. I want to bring in Joe Augustine, who heads up our investigative unit, and talk a little bit about some developments here as it pertains to 3M and PFAS, which are otherwise known as forever chemicals. The team has done a deep dive into this, produced a documentary recently, and you'll have to remind me of the name because it's really long. So
Everywhere and Forever: Blood, Water, and the Politics of PFAS.
It's an excellent resource to just get a lay of the land, literally, on what has happened. But we have a couple of updates here in the last couple of days or so. What do we need to know about this lawsuit against the latest lawsuit against 3M?
Yeah, the kind of the legal wrangling here continues for 3M. So this week, the Leech Lake Land of Ojibwe filed a lawsuit against 3M, accusing 3M and several other companies of essentially contaminating the reservation with PFAS. They said they've been testing their water for several years now, and their quote was, the results have been alarming. So much so that they've actually stopped using the public water supply in their schools. They've been supplying bottled water for a couple years. Another big impact that they've revealed in the court record, hunting and fishing, such a way of life on the reservation for generations. But over the last few years, they've actually been testing several species of fish, the deer harvest, and they are also seeing alarming levels of PFAS in the wildlife as they engage in the hunting and fishing on the reservation. So their claim is, hey, we believe 3M caused this, and we are now taking the step of filing a lawsuit. The other thing is a lot of the allegations made in this lawsuit very similar to allegations made by water districts across the country over the last several years, and 3M actually agreed to settle with those water districts across the country last year, agreeing to pay up to $12.5 billion. So this is kind of a continuation of those legal efforts against 3M over the contamination caused by PFAS.
Do we happen to know how long the tribe has been researching this, looking into it, and trying to, is it about the same time period as many of the others?
Probably more recent. I said in the last 5 years, they really started engaging in this testing, and so that's when we started seeing kind of their legal action now, which mirrors some of the other claims that have been made by different government entities across the country.
Yeah, it's incredible when you think about the amount of money being paid out in these settlements, and I know that's to be continued, right? Because there are more and more health claims that seem to be surfacing.
Yeah, we've gotten the headlines about some of these major settlements, including the settlement with the state of Minnesota, close to $900 million in 2018. The legal ramifications or the legal process is nowhere near over for 3M. They are still facing health claims across the country, and there was actually supposed to be this month what's called the bellwether case, which is kind of like a test case. They do these trials to see which way is kind of the wind blowing on this, and maybe it can force both sides to kind of reach a settlement maybe, or decide do they want to dig in. So they were scheduled to do that bellwether trial in Pennsylvania this year. It involved a case of kidney cancer, which, as a judge said, there's a few diseases that can move forward here, that if you have been diagnosed with kidney or testicular cancer, we're going to try those cases first and let a jury decide, hey, do we think 3M causes? 3M's position on the health claims, very clear. They say, listen, there is no way you can prove that our chemical caused your disease. They said causation is a very high bar to reach. So that's where 3M's position has consistently been there since the beginning of all this.
And so that's their bar. And so what do we know about cases, these health claims that have come forward? Has anybody been successful, or are we looking at that bellwether as that's the one that's going to kind of tell us?
The bellwether is going to be kind of the one that tells us where this goes, because 3M and the other companies involved are facing thousands of lawsuits. That's actually why the bellwether case was delayed, because a judge was worried there were a lot of cases that hadn't been filed yet.
Gotcha.
So the judge reopened a window and said, hey, if you feel like you have a claim related to one of these diseases, you need to file now. Now is the time to file this. So he pushed the bellwether off until sometime next year. The bellwether case is something we'll be monitoring very closely, though, because it's going to put 3M's argument to the test and say, okay, can a jury decide whether or not 3M's chemical, the chemical they manufactured, sold, and dumped for decades, can that be tied to some of these diseases?
Can I ask you a question that I know you don't know the answer to, but I would love to just get some insight from you? So let's say that this bellwether case does find 3M liable, and that sets off a cluster of just lawsuits and money. Given the settlements that already have been in place, and then if we were to add in these health claims combined, is this the kind of thing that could take down a company like this financially, or no?
Yeah, I can't really speculate on that. I don't have enough insight into 3M's, like health of their company. But what I will say is that, listen, they have agreed to, as of right now, up to $14 billion in settlements. That's through the public water districts, the settlement they reached last year in conjunction with the settlement they paid to the state of Minnesota. We also know this. Our investigative reporter is actually monitoring a court hearing today. Their insurance provider, AIG, one of the largest insurance providers in the world, has said they don't want to cover this. So even though they have an insurance policy through AIG, they've looked at it and said, your liabilities related to PFAS contamination, we don't think we should have to cover that. So 3M's fighting the lawsuits where they feel like, hey, you can't accuse us of this. They're also fighting with their insurance provider. So they're kind of dealing with it on a couple different fronts here. What that means for the health of the company, I can't speak to, but I will say, like, this is far from over. There's a lot of legal challenges that are going to be coming against 3M.
Okay, and I ask you this every time you come on and we talk about the documentary and the work that you guys have done, because one of the most powerful sound bites, I think, and impactful, just hits you right in the face sound bites I've ever heard was from it was former Attorney General Lori Swanson. Is that right? Yeah. Can you just reiterate for those who haven't seen the documentary what she said about sort of the pervasiveness of these chemicals?
Yeah, I mean, this is just the reality that we're all dealing with, is the chemicals that were produced, the PFAS forever chemicals, which is a whole, PFAS is kind of an umbrella term for a lot of different subcategory of chemicals. But the bottom line is these chemicals are in everybody's blood alive today. Now, the question that hasn't been answered yet is, what does that mean for your health? Yeah. Right? And we don't know the threshold that it has to be at. A lot of those questions are unanswered. One of the other important sound bites from our documentary actually was, it's going to be really hard to unpack the health claims because we put a whole soup of chemicals into our body. So extracting, and this goes to 3M's argument, what chemical may be causing that is going to be really difficult. That being said, there is some science out there that some certain diseases, including serious diseases like cancer, can be linked to PFAS. Now, whether that's 3M's PFAS, that's what ultimately these cases are going to decide.
Well, I know you guys will be watching very closely that case out in Pennsylvania, keeping us, because that is pivotal in all of this, obviously. So thank you, Joe. Really appreciate that update for us. So, all right. Again, if you want to check out the documentary, which I highly recommend, Everywhere and Forever, Blood, Water, The Politics of PFAS, on our YouTube channel, I know, on our website, definitely very, very impactful. Just kind of lays it all out in a very fair, but you guys did a great job of really balancing that thing out and being very fair about it. So, all right, let's see. We're going to continue on with some headlines here. We'll let Joe get on with his day, because you guys have a lot cooking as well. So thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. We're going to go through a couple of more headlines here as we are waiting for a few things. One of which is Kevin O'Connell is scheduled to have a press conference here, media available. There we go. There's the room. We're waiting. And so when KOC walks in, we're going to take this live, especially the first part of it here, as according to Ahmad, there's zero chance that we will hear KOC say who's going to be the starting quarterback. But we got to pay attention anyways. We got to listen. You never know. Out of the gate, we usually get a little something from him. So we'll take you there when that gets started. Amber's got one eye on that. And while we're waiting, couple of other things. We have State Senator Omar Fateh coming on here at 1:40. Our other candidates have been at 1:15. Just a scheduling thing today with this, and then his schedule. He was at another event today, so 1:40 is our time with the state senator as well. If you want to catch that interview, 10 minutes live, just like the other 5 candidates will have and have had. Okay, a couple of headlines. You want to just run through a couple of things here? Should we, Amber, as we're waiting, or did you want to? Okay, so government shutdown. We're entering our 3rd week here, and here's what we need to know today. Day 15. Let's see, 9 a.m. this morning, our time, so 10 a.m. Eastern, the Senate convened. Remember, we're just talking about the Senate here. The House passed their continuing resolution weeks ago. We actually had Representative and also the House Whip, Tom Emmer, representative, here in the studio right after they passed that. And he was back home and he said, we've done our part now. It's the Senate's turn. And of course, Democrats are calling for these Republicans to come back. But the House did their part. Now we're talking about the Senate and this push and pull to try to get to that threshold of 60 votes to reopen the government. And in just a nutshell here, Democrats really insisting that they don't want to even move forward until they get assurances that they will be able to have meaningful discussions about some of the tax credits under the Affordable Care Act. So if you get your health insurance through the Affordable Care Act, those are some enhanced tax credits that have been given up until now. Those expire, and so really the contention and the pain points have been around those. The Republicans say, we will talk to you about that. We just want to buy a couple more weeks here to do that. So let's just open the government and move forward and have these conversations. And that's kind of where we're at right now. I didn't do like the greatest job explaining that in the most balanced way, but I think that's fair to say. All right, and in the meantime, a couple of other just little tidbits here. A vote scheduled, it was scheduled for 1:15 our time, and Amber, you've had eyes on the chamber. You don't see any activity, yeah? No? She might be on the phone. She's probably lining something else up.
Amy, I just pulled up C-SPAN, and it does look like the Senate is actually just getting back into the chamber now, so we're working on getting you a shot of that, but we might be seeing a little bit of movement here soon. I've also been watching a stakeout cam outside of the chambers where we were expecting to hear from leaders from both parties, but so far I have not seen anybody come up to the mic.
Okay, so we'll kind of wait and see here. Today's vote would be vote number 9 that they've had. So that's where we're at on that. We'll keep an eye on it. I mean, at any point here, you would hope that one of these days we're going to come to you and say, you know, here we are, we've got it. Not quite yet. We'll see. We'll follow this vote, assuming that it happens here shortly, and we will definitely bring you the very latest when that happens. There we go. This is that look inside the chamber. We know that they convened this morning again at 9 a.m. our time, so they've had some time for some discussion today. But again, we'll just kind of wait and see what happens here after this recess and follow along. And Amber will let us know the second we have anything to report back to you. A couple more things as we also are waiting for Kevin O'Connell to take the microphone. Let's see, take the podium here. A couple of reminders really quickly. Highway 7 in Minnetonka, we want to keep talking about this. Tonight, it is shutting down starting at 7 p.m. This stretch of Highway 7 between Vine Hill Road, which is kind of almost to Minnetonka High School, and then go west from there. Let's see, in the Shorewood, Deep Haven County, it's County Road 101. So County Road 101 to Vine Hill Road is the stretch. There we go. Thank you for that. I'm doing a terrible job trying to explain. Thank you. This is that stretch. It's going to be closed in both directions. And the reason this is important is tonight, starting at 7 o'clock, it's shutting down both directions, and that will continue until October 20th is when it's scheduled to reopen. Minnetonka High School is right there. There are a lot of businesses. If you got to get to work or another commitment, you're going to want to know about this because the detours are not quick. You can see they want you to go down to 5 through Chanhassen, back up to 494 and around. So ouch, that would be, if you're not expecting it, that's going to catch you. That's not going to be good for your commute. So watch for that. And then another thing we wanted to talk about, a couple things today that are happening here on this October 15th, Wednesday, is Tax Extension Day. So this is important. If you needed an extension to file your taxes last April and you filed for this extension, today is your last day to file your taxes, unless then you get hit with a penalty. So you're going to want to do that today. A lot of options for filing. Let's see. I'm going to go through this. Yes, and so there's a government shutdown. How does that affect all of this? I'm glad you asked. So the information I have says that even as the government shutdown enters its third week here, that they still do expect you to get this done on time. The IRS did furlough half of its workforce this month because of the shutdown, but they did establish a shutdown contingency plan to keep some of those agents at work. So carry on. Get those things in today so you don't get any penalties or interest or anything like that. So that is something to be aware of today. And then also the other big sort of, the reason today is important, October 15th, is because this is the day for those of you who have Medicare that you can start making changes to your plan. And we'll just kind of, sorry for a broken record, for those of you who heard it 1,000 times, but so important. If you have Medicare, specifically Medicare Advantage, but even if you just have Medicare and you just want peace of mind, get that card, whoever your provider is, and flip it over and call that number on the back and ask them what your plan is going to look like when the new year starts. It's possible. In fact, it is guaranteed if you have UCare that you are going to lose your Medicare Advantage and fall back on your original Medicare. You don't want to get caught here with paying out of pocket for prescriptions or other things, because that's what Medicare Advantage would have covered. You want to make sure you're shored up and that you have everything you need. So start with that. Call that number on the back of your card and find out what you need. From there, if you need more help, there are lots of resources, one of which is what used to be called the Senior Linkage Line, which is now the Minnesota Aging Pathways Line. This is a toll-free number you can call based here in Minnesota, and they have no skin in the game. They're just there to help you and direct you. We know that also that you may sit on hold for quite a while because it's so complicated. So many people are flooding in right now with calls. You can go to medicare.gov. You can set up a personalized plan finder, which is a great way to do it. If you know your way around a computer, this is the great way to do it. You get on there, you set up your account, and you can make changes. It'll tell you exactly what you need to do, what you're not going to have in the first of the year. The issue is if you're not good with computers, there's a two-factor authentication that has to happen to do that. Okay, who do we have? Oh, okay. All right, Senator John Thune has taken the microphone, so let's listen in here. Oh, sorry. Oh, no, sorry. KOC starting. You can watch this on live now if you want to watch government shutdown coverage. We're going to take KOC right now in Eagan.
You know, last week with the high snap count coming out of the Pittsburgh game, really 2 weeks ago now, you know, that was more of a just through the dialogue with Christian of that one individual game. But yes, I feel like he'll be in a good spot.
Where do things stand as far as your starting QBs for Sunday?
They stand in the same place they did Monday when I answered that question.
How will you handle it in practice in terms of reps and who between Carson and JJ?
Yeah, they're both going to get work, both going to get reps, and very much looking forward to our whole team getting back out there. No, I think our goal is always, you know, especially navigating kind of I think we're up to 14 combinations of guys. We're just trying to, you know, as we navigate it, try to find the best 5 to have out there. And Blake certainly played as, you know, as we kind of expected he would. And any of the unknowns of just the experience of running and kind of being in charge out there as the center were quickly answered in a really positive way. So I thought he was big, strong, handled the communication really well against a really good defense, and he's going to, you know, get the opportunity to get work this week. Jergs is back as well, and we'll go with the best 5 we can.
Kevin, what much do you want to see from JJ this week?
I think the big thing is just getting him back on the grass in uniform, practicing, getting real live reps of a pass rush and you know, taking drops and applying some of the things that he's worked really hard on as of late as he's kind of gotten to that phase of his rehab, applying it. And then when he does that, you know, instant dialogue about what he's able to do and what it felt like, and hey, let's log that away. And then if he doesn't, the same thing. It's, you know, it's going to be, I'm having a blast kind of coaching him. It started kind of last week when he was able to really start ramping up a little bit as he gets there, and you know, that one-on-one work, and then obviously the work he does with Josh and Jordan is going to be critical.
So on the mechanics thing too, because he you know has been here for a year plus now, worked in training camp and stuff. When the mechanics start to break down, is that more of an in-game thing? Because you know you've worked on those things before.
Yeah.
Just like does the footwork sort of go astray during games, or what happened where you had to sort of go back to some of the fundamental mechanics that you've seen done well in training camp?
Yeah, I think you know, live football and real reps of, you know, some of the things he did. It wasn't just real football, because he did some things in the Chicago game to help us win that game, demonstrating a lot of real positives. You know, on the road in a pretty significant environment, crowd noise, first time out, a lot of really positive things. And then it kind of circles back to it was our, you know, he's been here the timeline you said, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's been on the grass practicing, doing the things that help you build a layer of consistency where you can not only take it to the game with you, but then the ebbs and flows of the position, whether it's, the pocket breaking down, or maybe it's, once the injury happened, being firm on that back foot, and what the combination of a lot of those experiences can do to your fundamentals are a very, very normal thing for a young player. I think you can see examples of it around the whole league at a lot of different positions, not just the quarterback position, but it's obviously the easiest one for folks to be able to see kind of a plus or minus type of world that they live in, completion or not, first down or not, touchdown or not. There's a little bit more that goes into it as each, rep kind of tells its own story. So what you can do as a quarterback is hold the pen and at least control the controllables of doing your job. And I think that's where time on task is. It's, easy to say, like, why wasn't it like that every time he played? That was really a significant injury that he was playing through in that game, and that coupled with how the game had gone. Had about an hour and 20-minute practice on that Friday after leaving the hospital on Thursday, sleeping there and showing up here. I mean, there was a lot of variables to that one performance that I know, because he hasn't been out there, we're taking a lot of looks at probably continuously, and I understand that. But there's a bigger picture to playing quarterback and how I view the position, and yeah.
Is it more important for Carson Wentz to start against the Eagles or the Vikings?
For him to start against the Eagles or the Vikings?
Is it more important for him personally?
Oh yeah, we haven't. Yeah, I see what you're saying. We haven't really talked about that at all. I think there's been, I don't know if he's even played them since he left Philly, but he's played for a few teams since. But I think he's just excited about getting back on the practice field and having a chance to play this week, and he's working through his own kind of plan for the week as well as we lead into it.
And what about the Angio defense, or this Eagles defense kind of requires the most time during the week in your game planning?
Yeah, he's really, really good football coach, has been for a long time. They've got some really talented guys on their front, really good linebackers, and I really like their young secondary. They've got a really good mixture of instincts and ball skills, and then just flat out, good football players. So he's got the tools to do what he's always done in the league, which is it's difficult to play against, variety of fronts that they can get to with the versatile pieces that they have, linebackers getting on the ball, forming 5-down, 6-down structures that require you to have a pretty good understanding of the plan and the play, but then the adjustments that have to take place amongst the players out there to find success. Because really a lot of the defense, whether it's pre-snap and some of the things that they do, stemming and moving around, it's similar to our defense in a lot of ways, but then post-snap, similar to our defense, they're changing the picture. You think it's this coverage, and it ends up being a totally different kind of structure of the defense, and that's what he's made, so many teams and defenses so successful with, and they're doing the same types of things, and we've got to have a good plan for it, and we've got to execute. We got to have really good execution on the early downs to give us a chance to have some manageable kind of situations throughout the drive, see if we can get momentum. And we've done well when we've gotten in the red zone. We've done well in the 2-minute setting. We've got to be better on third down and kind of eliminate the things we've talked about from a penalty or negative play standpoint to be able to stack positives together.
All right, we've been listening to Coach Kevin O'Connell. I guess the headline here is that there's no headline for a starting quarterback. Status quo was what he said off the top, in case you missed that. So we'll have much more coming up tonight on our newscast. This week, we invited 5 Minneapolis mayoral candidates to spend 10 minutes with us live. There are more than a dozen people running, but we chose the 5 candidates who were recognized at the DFL nominating convention this past summer. Monday, we had the incumbent Mayor Mayor Jacob Fry. Tuesday, yesterday, it was Dwayne Davis. Today, State Senator Omar Fateh. Thursday, Jazz Hampton, and then Friday, Brenda Short. Now, the candidates chose which day they wanted. It was a first response basis, and then each candidate agreed to the same ground rules. This is a conversation, not a debate, so not an opportunity to talk about or criticize other candidates because they can't defend themselves in real time. However, I will give each candidate an opportunity to respond to a specific criticism that's been leveled against them. And then finally, each candidate was sent the same list of topics ahead of time, and I have been and will continue to just choose questions from that list until we reach that 10-minute mark. So today's candidate is State Senator Omar Fateh. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, and I'll let everybody know that if we keep answers in the relatively 30-second to minute range, we'll be able to get through hopefully about 10 questions, which has worked out pretty well here throughout the course of these interviews. So I've actually got a timer here myself, and my producer's giving me cues, so I'll start that up and we'll get going here. So I'll start it now, and I'll let you know as we're going as well how much time we have left for the interview. Okay, so we're going to start with public safety and policing. Let's talk about homeless encampments, which is a huge issue for a lot of people in Minneapolis. My question is, will you, under any circumstances, consider shutting down a homeless encampment?
Well, my response to that would be, where would they go? Whenever we've seen campus sweeps go on throughout our city, which, by the way, bulldozing those unhoused neighbors costs hundreds of thousands of dollars each time, we just see them come back up in another block or another neighborhood. And so we know that bulldozing does not lead to the ending of homelessness or housing our unhoused neighbors. We want to take a humane and compassionate approach, providing them with the resources that they need, providing them with connections to housing and shelter, wraparound services and treatment, and an individualized plan for each individual that is experiencing homelessness for whatever reason that they're having. But the continued cycle of removing encampments whenever they prop up has not been working. I know that we don't want encampments, our unhoused neighbors don't want it, no one in our city wants it, but it's an unfortunate reality that has been occurring. And I can't tell you how many times I've spoken to family members or mothers, for example, in East Phillips saying, I can't have my 6-year-old play in our front yard without picking up a needle. For me, that's heartbreaking, and that should change.
Senator, if elected, would you keep Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara as police chief?
I think that would be an irresponsible decision to make right now during the campaign. It would be a decision that would have to be made after consulting with all 13 city council members, consulting with community, but also ultimately sitting with Chief O'Hara himself, talking about his record and also what his vision for public safety and for the city would look like. And so I will look forward to having those conversations after this election, should I become the mayoral nominee.
Okay, and so just to clarify, you'd be open to all options?
There is no door ever closed. We have to make sure that we're making the best informed decision as possible. What I've learned as senator is that no matter how passionate you might feel about decisions, it's important to get input from every single person and make an informed decision, and that's the approach I would take.
Okay, Senator, you're on record saying that you would not, and correct me if I'm wrong, you would not support the Trump administration activating the National Guard in Minneapolis. If they are sent here, if there's a federal ICE raid, some other related arrests similar, and this, say, sparks protests, riots, there's looting, would you support any kind of response by Minneapolis police?
I don't believe there's any instance in which MPD should be collaborating with ICE, to answer your question. That's number one. Number two, what we've learned from our city, especially our city auditor, is that we need to strengthen our separation ordinance. And part of the reason why we saw that level of anxiety and folks being upset on June 3rd when we saw ICE come to Lake and Bloomington is that people were left out in the dark, especially our city council members. Myself, multiple elected officials, our city council members included, a lot of us found out about what was occurring, not by the administration, but by boots on the ground folks, organizations, folks that do know your rights trainings and provide legal services. And so one thing we quickly learned is that any time that there is any federal agents, including ICE, coming to our city, that is important for our administration and for NPD to alert our city council so that they can disseminate that information out, and making sure that in no instance that NPD is collaborating with ICE.
To the economy now, we know that the Timberwolves and the Lynx want a new arena. Do you support that, and if so, how?
I do not support that, and I've been clear from the beginning that any dollar that we afford to the stadiums or to the billionaires is a dollar that goes away from basic services, and a dollar that goes away from our most vulnerable communities as well. We need to ensure that our city is providing the basic services that people need, ensuring that we're providing the type of work for our working families, making sure that we're supporting our public schools, making sure that we're supporting local businesses and families. And I think that's the right approach to take. If there is a new arena that wants to be propped up or supported, I think that the billionaire owners have more than enough resources to make it happen.
We're almost at the 5-minute mark here, Senator. So I want to talk a little bit along those lines. As mayor, obviously you'd represent Minneapolis residents. Also, though, every mayor in every city depends on people from outside of the city to help bring in revenue. So what would your message be to people, let's say, watching from the suburbs right now, other states who are maybe hesitant or flat out don't want to come to Minneapolis for a variety of reasons?
Well, we want to make sure that Minneapolis is the most welcoming, prosperous city possible. And by doing that, I think that would attract both new businesses and new people. We got to have a city in which is welcoming for everyone, especially under a situation in which we have a hostile federal government with Trump back in office. We want to make sure we're providing opportunities for our youth and our students, making sure our public schools are fully supported. I worked really hard, for example, at the Capitol to provide tuition-free college for working-class families so that we can both provide college affordability, but a more educated workforce, which we know is going to be critical in a more globalized and more connected world. And so that's the approach we want to take, addressing people's basic needs and also providing the opportunities for people, which in turn would attract more businesses, more people into our city, and with that, more prosperity.
4 minutes left here. For each candidate, there's a criticism that I'm going to put out there for you and give you the opportunity to respond to. There's been some reporting about your efforts to, and again, correct me if I'm wrong in any of this, but to push some legislation to sort of fast-track approvals for the Housing Stabilization Services program, which we know now was fraud-ridden, and there have been indictments. The government shut it down, and at the time you introduced the bill, your wife was still the owner of a company that was part of the HSS industry. You've said that her company was not involved at all, but I guess the question here is, even if she wasn't involved, the program was still wrought with fraud at the time, and people are asking, why did you push for those approvals?
Well, anytime there are community members or members that are providers coming to our office, it's incumbent upon legislators to listen and to learn and to work with both administration and the people to come up with solutions. And that was a situation in which, number one, my wife formed an exploratory business 3 years in advance, 2021. The business never billed, the business never served any clients, and it was essentially just a paper filing that never functioned. And number two, this was not a financial bill at all. It was a bill to help serve clients. What we learned in committee, and we learned from also providers, is that yes, there are some bad actors, and that DHS did not have the capacity to oversee all of it and not to capture some of those bad actors or bad instances on time. And so this was a legislation to ensure that, number one, folks that are struggling can still get the services that they need. But number two, this was a program integrity bill, ensuring that whenever there were instances of fraud or instances in which, for example, clients were being billed, clients that have passed away were being billed for, that the county was more capable and able to capture that almost immediately, and in turn saving the state and our country millions of dollars. And so that was the intention of the bill. It was a program integrity bill that did not get passed.
Senator, the last question I'm asking you, with our 90 seconds left, and everybody's had about 90 seconds to answer this, is anything else that you want to share about yourself personally, family, anything that you want people to know about you, the person?
Yeah, and I appreciate the opportunity. And so we ran a campaign that's been built with a broad coalition from old people to young people to people that were longtime DFLers fed up with the system, renters, transit riders, immigrants, all of the above, workers. And so 2 months ago, we had the birth of my first son, Imran. And so this campaign became a little bit more personal for me, in which now I'm fighting for the city in which my son will be growing up in. And I want to envision and work towards a city in which my son and his generation are able to thrive, are able to be best supported. If they stumble and make mistakes, and every kid will make mistakes, that they're able to be uplifted so that they're able to be put on a path towards success. But that includes a city in which we don't leave anyone behind. Not our workers, not our immigrants, not our people that have been helping the city function and thrive. And so I envision a city in which everyone is housed, in which we have a cross-jurisdictional approach with our county and our state and our federal government, tackling the issues that have been facing our people, especially our most vulnerable communities, and making sure that we tackle the affordability and accountability piece in which people have been asking for our city. And lastly, making sure we're healing as a city. What we learned quickly from residents is that what's equally important to good policy are good relationships, and we need to have good relationships all around and not assuming ill intent of people to make sure that we are serving all of our residents.
All right. 10 minutes, 10 seconds. You guys are good. We've had 3 candidates this week, and each one of you has hit that 10-minute mark like you've done it before. So thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Take care. State Senator Omar Fateh, one of the 5 candidates that we're hosting this week. Again, tomorrow, Jazz Hampton will join us. Friday, Brenda Short, and we look forward to the same 10-minute conversation. It's hard. 10 minutes, you guys, is not a lot of time. Trust me, there's a lot we could get into, but we liked this format because we thought, if they can't say anything negative about each other, at least that'll take that out of it, and then hopefully we can focus in on the what I'll do piece of this. So yeah, and there's so many great resources out there. There have been debates and forums that are widely available to you. I would highly recommend going in and watching some of those as well to get a feel for who these candidates are, and as you go to the polls this November. Okay, 3 weeks from now already. My goodness, Election Day. Next week, St. Paul. 5 mayoral candidates from St. Paul will be joining us, 1 a day, same format. Amber, do you want to pop in here real quick as we wind down?
I do. I was going to say maybe we could squeeze in a last break here, but we're quickly coming up on the end of the hour.
So we had a lot of live events today that have really kept it fluid. So
yeah,
good job, by the way.
You too.
No, good job you getting all this stuff. I'm like this. You're the duck with the little feet underneath the water, just going like this. I'm just trying to
wish people could have seen as Senator Thune came up to the mic, I was like, okay, we're still waiting for KOC to come up. We'll go to DC, talk about the shutdown here from him. Senator Thune walks up, we pop the shot up, and literally the exact same time I see KOC walk up, and I'm like, no, get out.
I'm guessing somebody would have flagged us had there been some great, some great news to share with the folks about the government, but we did not get that. So I'm guessing that maybe that vote has not happened yet, and we're just waiting on that. So
yeah, it does look like I'm still watching senators file back into the chamber here, Amy. Chuck Schumer was just up, the Democratic leader was just up talking at the mic outside of the chambers, and he's wrapped up, or is wrapping up as we speak. So I believe they'll be heading back in and possibly voting really any minute now.
Yeah, Live Now is a resource that if you're streaming us, by the way, if you're streaming on the Fox Local app, you can, so at any point, if we're covering something and when we went to KOC and you're like, but I wanted to see John Thune, what you can do is, and I'm not gonna do a good job of this because here we go. Oops, there we are. Okay, and then all you do on this, if you're watching us here, is you go like this. Oh, there's Live Now. And they're more than likely going to be covering that national story for us, or any sort of live national event that's happening. They're usually right on that. Fox Weather's there, Fox Soul. I mean, there's all kinds of options if you're streaming us. So all of that is good.
One more thing I want to quick mention, because it's really cool for our local community here. Janu, our morning anchor, just popped this in Slack. Did you see that Suni Lee is walking in the Victoria's Secret fashion show tonight?
Stop it.
Yes. Yes, she posted about it on Instagram. The Victoria's Secret campaign posts about it on Instagram. She's very excited.
Wow.
Obviously, she called it a dream come true. So that's happening tonight. So for us to just learn about this a matter of hours ahead of time, I was like, oh my God.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. That is
congratulations to Suni Lee. Once again, she's just forever killing it out there.
I know. Still haven't found that statue, though. Not happy about that. We're still on that case, by the way, not letting that go. Statue missing.
Whoever, if you took it and you're watching us right now, you will be
Bring it back, because you will be found. They will find you.
Okay, you want to hit a little bit of Zen and round her out?
I do, yeah. I'm just going through our website. Please check out some stories on here. That Medicare enrollment opens today. Everything you need to know there, and there's just a lot of content on here. We heard from Gopher basketball men's head coach Nico Medved for the first time since the season started. Clip that and put that on there as well. Yes, but let's do some. What are we calling it now?
Serenity now.
That's it.
It's my money and I need it now. That's what I'm picturing. It's my Zen and I need it now. It's my serenity now. Roll it.